Hey everyone, Ashley May, Mike Beer here, taking a look at one of the graded stakes races this Saturday at Woodbine. They have 4 on tap. We're going to look at race number 8, the grade 3 Royal North. This is 6.5 furlongs on the turf, and it's on the EP Taylor. You can see it's on the outer, and it's a pretty good field here, Mike, of 10 fillies and mares. And in terms of the morning line, it looks like it comes down to 2 horses, the 2 Tupi, who might be in some ways the class of the field. I guess if you look at what she's been facing, but also in the number 8 in here, Earheart for Josie Carroll, has just been sensational. A 3 for 4 in her career. She came back ready to roll as a 4-year-old filly.
Might not be easy to take Earheart as the favorite in this race as she makes her turf debut, but there's no denying that she can really, really run. She's been very, very impressive on the all-weather surface, actually, and she's bred for turf, so we'll see if she handles the surface switch here.
We'll take a look at the time form, U.S. pace projections for this turf sprint. And in terms, we don't see necessarily a fast pace, but as you mentioned, Earhart has been very speedy in her races. She'll likely be involved, as well as the 2 Tupi, who's stretching out in distance from that 5.5 furlong grade 3 event at Keeneland. And I think it's going to be interesting to see how quick they go. I think it'll be fast. I'm not sure it'll be blistering, though.
Yeah, I didn't know if it would be that fast either, but just based on what Earhart's been doing on the other surface, I mean, she does look like the fastest horse early. And I suspect they'll use her speed here and see what she can do on turf. Tupi, her last 2 stakes wins have come wire to wire in Southern California, but she's run well without the lead in the past too. So I don't think it's any big deal if she doesn't make the early lead in this race.
We'll start with the 1 Metaphysical, who does have the LP flag attached to her. She's a 5-year-old mare who, in terms of what we've seen on the turf, she is 0 for 6, but last time we saw her, she won. I thought it was a pretty good win, but almost felt like that was the field for her. And now she has to jump back up into stakes competition, which when you go down the page, it's been a little bit of mixed results.
Yeah, it has. It also kind of feels like maybe she's just improved as a horse, but it kind of feels like she improved when they switched her to synthetic too. So we'll see. It's at least worth noting, I guess, for a horse who's going to be, one of the bigger prices. She hasn't won on turf yet, but she's stakes placed twice on the grass. And so she can handle the surface just fine.
The 2 Tupi you mentioned can win on the front end. You mentioned the 6.5 furlong races on the downhill at Santa Anita. Most recently was 4th in the Giants Causeway. And I agree with you. I don't think she necessarily needs the lead. I do wonder how 6.5 on the EP Taylor is going to work for her compared to 6.5 on the downhill. I do think in terms of her figures, even though she didn't win last time out, she still stayed right at sort of that range that we saw 2 back. And it is interesting to note with her now going to Canada, she's going to race with Lasix and go down the page. That's something we haven't seen before.
Yeah, that's true. That's something that you definitely have to take into consideration. You never can really quantify how much of a difference it's going to make, but if it makes any difference at all, it just makes her that much tougher because just on the page and what she's done so far in her career, she is one of the, major players in this race. She ran fine last time off of a little bit of a left. That was a really good field that Keeneland she was facing.
The 3 Freedoms Speaks is 8-1 in the morning line, getting blinkers on. And last time out, I thought it was a good performance in terms of having the 2 months, just over 2 months off, came back. Obviously, it was against Lesser, but I thought this horse had a pretty good kick at the end. Does come up 3/4 of a length short. And just wonder what to make of her as a 6-year-old mare, because when you go back to 2022, she had some really big turf performances. And we always talk about it. How do you translate Kentucky Downs form? But she also had a nice win at Saratoga. And I just don't know how to assess her as of recent.
I agree. She's a tough call because you're right. I mean, you go back, she won the first 2 turf starts of her career, and she ran really well in both of those races. That was in 2022, and she has sprinted on turf twice since then. And, listen, they're both going way shorter than this 5 and 5.5. There's an argument to be made that this is a better distance for her. They got a run in her going a little longer last time. I thought she only ran okay in that race. If I'm being honest, I wanted to see her run a little better than that, but maybe cutting back will work for her.
The number 4 Dancing Duchess is one of several in here for Mark Casse. She comes off back-to-back 4th place finishes. And I don't know how you feel about her. I just feel like in her last 5, regardless of surface distance, she's just flat. She doesn't have a late kick. And I think in a turf sprint, I want to see something. I just feel like she's been really even. And for me, I know Saheen Savachi gets aboard, and maybe that's a selling factor. We'll talk about Mark's other horse. I just find Mark's other filly in here to be way more enticing.
I do too. And this filly, listen, she won the Alley Wow over this course and distance last year. I don't know. That wasn't a race that I loved overall. I know she got the job done there, but I wasn't super impressed with it. And she's been even, just worse in every start since then. I don't know. I thought she was pretty hard to like. I mean, the one redeeming quality, I guess, is she's run this distance twice in her life, and they're arguably the 2 best races of her career.
The 5 Ready to Jam is her stablemate that I already pointed out. I like her a lot more. I think kind of looking at her, they've tried to figure out how to race her. You see 2 starts back, she was forward in there. She comes up short, she's third best. But then more recently, she was towards the back of the pack in a 5 furlong sprint. She was rolling late. And for me, I actually think 6.5 is going to work out well for her. I think she's more of a horse that needs to sit and make one move. And her figures, I know we're not seeing the 89 that we saw 4 starts back, but I think she's going in the right direction, and she has a lot of upside second time out this year.
Feel the same way about her. I mean, the race 2 back that you're referencing there, the Glen Cove, it's just a race that scratched down to nothing in there. And I feel like they just decided we might as well go and see what happens. And what happened was she wound up contesting the pace with J. And I don't, J isn't around anymore, but she's undefeated on the grass. She was really, really good. Ready to Jam couldn't go with her in there, but she ran the second best race that day. And then she came back last time. You've already pointed out, actually, it felt like a prep to me. They didn't get aggressive with her at all. They just let her run through the stretch, and she was really finishing through traffic. I love this distance for her, and she'll be able to sit a little bit off the pace this time. And I think she's better that way.
And you mentioned the 6.5 furlong races. Go back to them. Second and third starts of her career, the Catch a Glimpse. Eros is a very nice filly that beat her, and she was only a length behind and trying to close. So I think there's a lot to like. And I think if you get any price near 12-1, she offers great value. And here, the 6 Ticker Tape Home, another one from Mark Cassie. They're going to try the surface switch, get this one back on the grass. And I guess the good thing is you look at her performances. She does have 2 turf wins. The win 4 starts back was very good. And then she went to the Seaway and was able to take the jump up in class and still be very competitive. Her first race of the year, it's tough for me to endorse her, just knowing the fact that Mike, a couple of others, 3 to be specific, have finished in front of her. And I'm not sure what we're going to get back on the return to the turf.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, she did, get pretty good last year, it seemed like, but it was only a 4-race campaign. And then, she came back last time. I guess you could be a little lenient, I suppose, but man, did she get blasted by Earheart in that race. We'll see how much better she can do.
The 7 Ms. Tart was third in the Whimsical last time out. This one for Kevin Rice, who has shipped her and just one other horse up to Woodbine for this meet. Had a win streak intact and was able to put in some big figures down at Gulfstream Park. When you look at that, you can see the 89 buyer, 3 starts back, going 5.5. For me, I wonder what the tactics will be going 6.5 on the turf. It's just a little bit of a tough sell in some regards for me, but a barn that you have to watch where they go and decide to ship horses. They typically do quite well.
Yeah, pretty dangerous trainer. This has been a pretty good claim for them too. They've already done pretty well with her. They'll test her again on turf here. I thought she was kind of hard to like in this race, Ashley, but I do respect these connections.
Now, we've talked about the Whimsical. The 8 Earheart was the winner of that. We'll take a look at the replay from that performance. And I don't know if this filly was ever in doubt. I mean, was able to get to the lead in here. I know it was a compact field, but as you watch her turn for home, she's just going to open up on here. And Gallon of Rush, Ms. Tart, all these other horses are just chasing. And it looks like she just has the best turn of foot in this field. And we talked about it. Her resume, there's a lot to like, but she will, face a bigger group and maybe get tested a little bit more.
Yeah, it's supposed to be a tougher test for her here when you throw, especially when you throw in the surface switch. She's just been really, really impressive in all 3 of her wins, though, just ridden out every single time. She's really fast early. She never lets anybody into the race. So super interested in here. Again, you have to deal with a surface switch and a short price and probably the toughest field she's ever faced. So, taking a short price might not be easy, but she's bred to be a turf horse. And she's been really, really impressive so far.
It's interesting. I don't usually, point out bad stats, but first time turf, when you look at formulator Josie Carroll, 0 for 24 in those most recent tries. And I think it's a different story when you're looking at a filly that has done what she's done at this point in her career. Big figures, dominating wins, and has plenty of early foot. So have a feeling maybe that record will change as of recent. The 9 Weehawken, this one for Safi Joseph Jr., a horse that's coming out of a race in New York last time out, where just felt like in the license fee, they went quick early on, and I don't know. She didn't really offer much, but Woodbine, she's very familiar with the surfaces and had a lot of success on the grass.
Yeah, she has run well up here. That's something that's at least worth pointing out. She earned the 90 buyer speed figure winning up here last summer, going 7 furlongs. I guess that effort would give her some kind of a chance in here, but that was against 25 claimers. She's in way tougher here.
The 10 Gal in a Rush going to round out the field, the 6-year-old daughter of Ghost Sapper, who we saw in the Whimsical, was the runner-up and was clear of Miss Tart by a length and a half. And prior to that, you can see they sort of strategically had her travel to tracks where they had some sort of a synthetic surface. But the turf form in the past suggests that getting back onto the grass should be no issue at all.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, it's sort of weird that they decided to try to make her a synthetic horse last year. Listen, they had some success with it, so you can't really argue with it. But I'm not so sure that she isn't better as a turf sprinter, and she probably has the right running style for this race too, because she's pretty tactical. I don't really have any argument against her. Actually, I didn't pick her in this race because I want to bet somebody else, but I thought she could win.
Yeah, it's tough to say why they did that. I also wonder if Lasix and graded stakes in Canada might have something to do with it
Good
as you
call.
look at that, but really tough to say. So that's the field of 10 for the grade 3 Royal North. A pretty good betting event if you can see maybe outside of Tupi and Earhart. And in terms of your top pick in here, I'm curious, Mike. I feel like it's either one of those or you want price shopping. And you use the two that I mentioned underneath, but you do go to the 5 ready to jam on top.
Yeah, I'm a fan of this horse, and I feel like this is the right race to run her in now. We'll see if the two favorites show up. It's not going to be easy for Ready to Jam to beat both of them, but I have questions about both of those horses, and I think Ready to Jam. I just think she's way better than she looks on paper, and she's going to be a really good price in here.
I went with the 2 Tupi, kind of chalk eating weasel in this case, 5-2 on the morning line. We'll see if we even get that. The 2 and the 8 are going to be hammered in this race in terms
Yep.
of their off odds. And for me, it's Tupi has the grass experience. I think Grand Motion is shipping with intent. And I actually think the 6.5 on the EP Taylor might be good for her. Might be a little bit different than the 5.5 furlong sprints that we've seen, where I don't think she just gets the right setup. So similar thoughts in here. We do cover the 2, 5, and 8 in our top picks, but you go 5, 8, 2, 3. I go 2, 8, 10, 5. It's race number 8 at Woodbine this Saturday. It's going to kick off their late pick 4, and that includes 3 graded stakes. Good luck.